Well, hi folks, and welcome along to the Old Classic Car channel. We've got a bit of an interesting mission on today because browsing Facebook Marketplace, as you do, I spotted quite a rare old Alvis that desperately needs saving, and I thought that would be a really fun car to feature on the website and on the channel here at the Old Classic Car channel. So I thought, well, let's go and have a look, see what this car is like. It's a 1948 Alvis TA14 coachwork by Mulliners of Birmingham, and it has been sat for a little while, this particular car. As you know, I do have a bit of a thing for older cars, 30s cars, 1940s cars and so on. So I thought, well, I'm not going to need too much persuasion to fire up the little MG, and we're going to head over there after lunch and just see what this Alvis is like in the metal. It's one of those sort of cars, late 30s, late 1940s saloons, the sort of thing which is sort of teeter on the brink of existence. Will it be broken for parts? Maybe it'll be converted into a special, which is often the fate of these older saloon cars because they can be quite expensive to restore. I've seen a few photographs in the advert of this particular car, but what it's like, well, there's no substitute really for checking them out in person. So without further ado, let's go and grab a quick bite to eat, and then we're going to head off in the MG and go and have a look at this Alvis and just see what it's like in the metal. Oakley dokley folks, well, here we are. I've been joined by the youthful assistant in between his revising, and this is the Alvis TA14 as advertised. Like I say, I'll include a link to the advert in the description of this particular video. So let's have a bit of a closer look around. So they made about 1700, I think 1775 of the Alvis TA14s in the post-war era between 1946 and 1950, and then the TA21 took over, which was basically the same car, I think, but just with a larger, approximately 3 litre engine. This one, I think, is about 1.8 litres, something like that. It is based on the pre-war Alvis 1270, if I remember correctly. These bodies were produced by Mulliners of Birmingham, very, very famous coach builders back in the olden days, one of several coach builders to use the Mulliner name. In fact, we do have a bit of a link with Mulliner because the big Dodge back at home, that was bodied during the Second World War, also by Mulliners of Birmingham. Pre-war, they did all sorts of coach-built bodywork on coaches, lorries, and indeed quite a few cars. Daimler in particular used Mulliners of Birmingham coachwork for many, many years, as did Alvis. And the car we see here, well, this is their four-door sports saloon. This one, like I say, 1948 is the date of this one. It spent much of its life over in Ireland. Shortly after being built in 48, it was shipped over to the Republic of Ireland and then later Northern Ireland before coming over here in the 1970s, I believe. So yeah, it's certainly quite well travelled, and that explains the JZ registration number on this particular car. Z is not a letter we use here in Great Britain, so that tells you that it's been over in Ireland at some point in time. Talking of registrations, oh, I've got a coffee, but talking of registrations, there is also the old buff continuation logbook. So these were used every time you taxed your car. You get a stamp in the book here from your local registration office. Then we can see JZ 9758 Private Alvis Black Saloon petrol engine. So it's nice that that little bit of history survives with it. There's also some other bits of paperwork with it and Alvis Club magazines going back to the early 1980s. I'll just pop that on there safely so we don't lose that. But yeah, what a great looking thing. It's actually quite a sporty looking saloon, even though the tyres are pretty soft. 2 windows per side, so 4 lights coachwork and quite a low roofline. I often talk about sports saloons and low rooflines on Rovers, but that was also the case with this, and it's actually a very, very sleek looking car. That must have looked fantastic back in the day. Of course, sadly, lots of these cars, the saloons in particular, they get converted, made into specials and all that sort of thing, which is kind of a bit of a shame. So it'd be nice to think that maybe someone will take this on. There is plenty of work to do, but it's not been got at from what I can see here. Everything appears to be there. The back bumper is just perched on top of the front bumper there. And as some of these cars have been rebodied and built up into specials and such like, then maybe you may just find that you could find some better front wings perhaps for it if you start fishing around amongst the membership of the relevant Alvis clubs. And there are Alvis specialists around as well. So you never know, it may just be possible to restore this one, but yeah, bit of work to do here. But what magnificent Lucas lamps. They're just a work of art in their own right, especially these huge glass lenses. Very, very stylish. Different one over there compared to this one, so maybe one has been a replacement at some point in time. The famous Alvis triangle. If we just pull that out of the way, let's have a quick look under the bonnet. Big centre hinge bonnet. So there we go. About 1800cc, give or take, 4-cylinder engine. Now whether this still turns or not, I do not know. I had a read of the auction description for when this was bought, like say back in 2021, and the long-term previous owner, prior to the current owners, he did turn it over regularly on the handle. So there is a chance that this engine still turns over. But yeah, clearly a fair bit of recommissioning work to do there. So we've got the regular SU electric pumps, and nothing complicated with that particularly. A few bits and bobs down there. There's a fuel filter. It's all pretty standard stuff there. But yeah, it just needs a lot of TLC. Let's just have a quick look inside. So we've got a big opening sunshine roof. Like I say, there were other coach builders as well, Tickfords and Car Bodies. They did drop head coupe versions of the TA14 back in the day. But I think all the saloons that we're looking at here, they were done by Mulliners. And yeah, it's beautiful. Look at all the aluminium pieces around here. Got ash framing everywhere. So yeah, a bit of work to do there, but it could possibly be retrieved. Sills, well, they've gone. As usual, the panels, the metal panels, at the very bottommost, the lowermost edges of the car, they're always the first to go. They get all the muck and the mud and get damp and everything, and they just rot out. Timber floors, wouldn't be a problem to replace that if necessary. All fairly basic. Lovely dash. I'm just trying to avoid a wasp at the moment. Let's have a quick sit inside, see what we can see. Just gently slide our way in to the driver. Oof, go away. Pesky wasp. But yeah, fantastic. Look at that. Very well equipped dash. Lovely Smith speedo there with a built-in clock. You can see that. Various controls in the centre of the column. Extra gauges here for oil pressure, ammeter, water temperature, and the fuel gauge, of course. There's your combined ignition and light switch over there. But yeah, plenty to do. There's a little bit of woodworm in evidence here and there. And there's a pesky wasp that just will not go away. But yeah, of course, ash framing, that was very much a pre-war feature. Oops, there's the wasp again. Let's get out of here. I think there must be a wasp nest around here somewhere. So I think we won't spend too much longer inside it. But yeah, ash framing, that was very much a thing on pre-war cars. Just get out of their way because I don't think they're very happy. But yeah, and well, in the post-war years, the supply of steel was very much restricted. There wasn't a great deal of steel around in those post-war ration years. So to continue using ash framing with steel panels on top kind of made a lot of sense. But you can see just how stylish this car would have been once upon a time. Like I say, the door trims, got a bit of woodworm in there, but possibly could be caught, who knows. The door actually opens pretty well. There's no drop on the B-pillar. It's quite heavy doors, rear hinge doors on these, so that's in its favour. Let's see if we can open one of the back doors as well. No, that one's locked, but we won't worry too much about that. But if you just stand back and just look at the lines, the shape of that car, it really is a bit of a belter. What do you think, young man? Do you like the shape?
It's yeah, I need to think about that.
Yeah, nice and low roof line, that's what I like about it. There's the famous Alvis badge there. Bumper, yep, the bumper's removed, but at the front, well, maybe this door is open. Let's have a look. So yep, sills, bottom of the wings. Ideally, I think I would look out some replacement wings. I'm sure with a bit of detective work, you'd find some better wings from a car that's been broken for parts or made into a special. Does that one open? No, we have openage. Again, aluminium plate panelling just on the edges here. Lovely wood doors. Again, a bit of woodworm around, but that door opens well. So actually, even though it looks pretty tired, the pillars structurally from the bits I can see anyway. It's not too bad. A bit down here on the bottom where the wings bolt through, but yeah, clearly a bit of work to do. Ooh, we've got a starting handle and some Alvis hubcaps on the rear seat. Some of the headlining isn't too bad either. Just gone a bit above the dashboard. A few cobwebs as well thrown in for free. This is up for, I think, £1,800 at the moment on Facebook, so we're not talking huge amounts of money, but there is quite a lot to do, obviously. But fortunately, it hasn't been got at. Are we able to open this side, young man? Maybe just have a quick peer under here just to see what is what. Always helps having the youthful assistant around. Right, here we go. So there's the other side of that 4-cylinder engine. SU carburettor. Single SU on these. There's the build plate on the bulkhead itself. Again, aluminium cover on it. That's where the battery will go. The starting handle will clip into these clips down here. And if we have a look there, you'll have the Alvis plate on there and probably your tappet settings, I would have thought. Yeah, what an interesting car. If you decide to take on this car, please let me know in the comments. Yeah, the glass is alright, isn't it? Structurally, it's actually, in some ways, better than I thought. Ignoring the wings, which are bolt-on and aren't really a problem. Well, the doors open and shut surprisingly well, actually. Better than I thought they would do. But yeah, clearly there's a fair bit to do on this one, but it would be nice to think that after all these years, I mean, what, 70 odd, nearly 80 years of existence, it'd be nice to think that maybe someone would take this on. Will they? Who knows? But it's not crazy money, and who knows, there may even be a bit of wiggle room on that. As I said before, I haven't got any link to the sale, the car, or anything else. I'm just a car enthusiast, and I thought, well, I'll feature on here on the Old Classic Car channel, include a link to the advert, and maybe it'll just help find a home for this car, this era of car that I like so much. Anyway, I think that'll do for our whistle-stop visit to this interesting just post-war Alvis TA14. And like I say, if you decide to have a go at it, please let me know in the comments and let me know your plans. So anyway, there we go. Thank you so much for watching this brief video. Big thanks to the owners for letting me come over here and film it for the channel. And yeah, many more classic car videos along very soon. And thanks to Harley as well for being on bonnet duties. Bye for now.